Annyeong Gooners and Goonettes, the much anticipated Goon review of the year is back, baby! That's right, 5 Hearts Under One Roof Season 2 is back.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
I gotta say, this season was a battle fest. We got some major players in the game this time around and the stakes can't be higher. We got the returning OG casts, Malsuk, Gran, and Minjung. That being said, we will also be missing out on one major player in the form of GOON, Malsuk's younger sister.
우유만.
누구?
오빠 나 은비.
은비? 고은비?
And Sungyi.
많이 놀라시게 해서 죄송해요.
어제는 저도 정신이 없어서. 근데 이름이 어떻게 되세요?
조승이요.
조승희.
But not to worry, because in place of Eunbi and Sungyi, there will be 3 new contestants entering the lobby. But before we get to them, let me just talk about the game in general first. Now obviously the challenge for Season 2 is that how do you follow up from Season 1 since all the girls have respective endings. And that is the genius of Story Taco. Because somehow, some way, they've managed it by making some of the events from the first game canon in the sequel. I also want to add that it is unfortunate we don't get a little more exploration on the Sungyi story arc for Season 2. I was hoping now that our parents have returned, we can get a little more insight into Sungyi, but I get it. We don't want to sacrifice screen time for the new contenders. Alright, let's get into Season 2. We're first introduced to the 2 new love interests from the get-go, Bang Yuri and Jung Yuna. At the same time, we also get a little glimpse of our third contestant, Yang Yu-jong.
안녕하세요.
I gotta say, the setup going into the first chapter is quite creative. Getting into an accident was not on my bingo card of 2025, but here we are anyways. First impression wise, I think Yuri takes the top spot. She makes quite a solid entrance at the start of the game, and our first interaction with her is quite strong as compared to Yuna's. Let me show you what I mean. With Yuri, you get a close-up of her showing concern. And this is followed up by a minor checkup on our condition.
환자분 이렇게 크게 다쳤는데 움직이시면 안 돼요. 우선 기본적인 체크 좀 할게요. 동공 이상 없으시고 열도 없네요.
Meanwhile, Yuna's intro shows her standing at the edge of our bed. There's already some distance between us. Instead of being close to us, she's further away. And the way she introduces herself makes her seem a bit distant.
당했는데 기억이 잘 안 나요.
기억이 잘 안 난다고요?
네, 누구신데요?
And as one of my Twitch viewers, Roger, puts it, NPC.
미안한 거라면 혹시 나한테 돈 빌렸죠?
네? 제가 돈을 빌렸냐고요? 아니 진짜 기억이 안 나나 봐.
Another thing is that when you get some fresh air with Yuna in either three of the options, it feels like she's being kind of needy. Like compared to Gyuri, Yuna seems to ask more of us than Gyuri, who is the one caring for us instead. You could probably say the same thing about Yujong, but unlike Yuna, she's actually working hard and isn't being directly needy. Like, she's just kind of going about her own day, doing her own thing, and it's on us to help her, which is why I think it's difficult for Yuna to get much of the love here from most players.
위험하니까 그냥 가자고 했죠 제가.
우와 대박. 진짜 큰일 날 뻔. 순발력 진짜 좋네요.
슬픔을 나누자는 게 같이 병원 씻어지겠다는 말이었어요?
아니 그게 아니라.
Another setback for Yuna is that when she eventually does show up to move in, she's immediately up against Malsuk, who, as we all know, is an established player of the game. She is the OG baddie herself. You're essentially putting a rookie in the paint to guard against LeBron. That's a tall order to go up against one of the main baddies from Season 1. Game-wise, there is a bit of an issue with some of the Malsuk versus Yuna choices. Like, this interaction here feels a bit unnatural.
진짜 이해가 안 가네. 근데 잠깐만. 외모만이라니?
어?
외모 빼곤 다 별로라는 거야?
아니 그런 게 아니야.
외모는 그렇다 치고 힘은 좀 써요? 힘은 내가 더 셀 것 같은데.
Speaking of Malsuk, she comes off really strong in her first comeback into the game. The underwear color scene was a really good entrance to establish that she is still the dominant force in Five Hearts Under One Roof Season 2.
너 두 눈으로 확인해봐야 될 거 아니야.
아니 나 괜찮은데? 빨간색이네.
아들, 얘들아,
깜짝이야.
내려와봐. 뭘 그렇게 놀래? 죄 지은 것도 아닌데. 네.
같이 가.
But everything else after feels like a bit of a debuff to her character. I think the biggest issue with Malsuk is the rental girlfriend thing that she's doing to raise money for Unbi's tuition fees. I do understand that in more conservative cultures, usually it's expected for men to chase, protect, and be territorial, but for international players, more specifically guys influenced by Western ideologies, they have a more give and take attitude towards dating, which is why Malsuk's character feels kinda nerfed this season.
야.
If you compare Season 2 Malsuk to Season 1 Malsuk, there's a clear difference in that she's also much nicer in the first season. There's a feeling that both Yuman and Malsuk are on an equal playing field.
우리 그러지 말고 앨범이나 같이 보자.
It's the sort of level playing field you kinda get with Yujong this season. The first time you really interact with Yujong is where you kinda get that feeling where, okay, maybe this could work. Because similarly to Malsuk in Season 1, there's less of a threat.
그거 떼어간 게 너였어?
나 저 옆방 엄청 탐냈던 거 알지? 나 여기서 지내게 해주면 내 거 빨 때 너 것도 빨게 해줄게.
뭐해?
왜? 부족해?
아니거든. 진짜 어이없어. 월 40인데 가능?
몰라 돈 없어. 여기가 시내랑도 가깝고 좋단 말이야.
Fans would know that the game establishes Yuman as the bottom in the Yuman-Malsuk relationship.
다들 잘 들어. 오늘부터 1학년 1반 5반 내 깔이야. 그러니까 한 번만 더 오해만 건드린 새끼 내 손에 뒤져 알았어? 오늘 집 갈 때 나랑 같이 가 알았지? 대답.
Which means on top of being the loser, seeing Malsuk hanging out with other guys just straight up feels like pursuing Malsuk is a pointless effort.
데이트하러 나간 거였어? 그 말 속지마 입은 거 보기 너무 힘든데. 뭐야? 진짜 연애하는 거야? 나한테 얘기도 안 해주고 서운한데.
Let's talk about Yoo-jung's character, because if you guys remember the first season, there's a similar contender here in the form of Sung-yi. We all remember how weird Sung-yi's character was because most of us who played the game definitely felt awkward hanging around Sung-yi, like we were in the presence of a minor. This time around, the devs polished the Sung-yi character a little more and gave her a more normal vibe in the form of Yoo-jung.
아, 저 양유정이라고 합니다.
아, 공부하세요?
아, 제가 아직 대학을 못 가서요. 아, 계산해 드릴까요?
네네 해주세요.
So instead of living in your attic and wearing kids' clothing and asking for milk, Yoo-jung is depicted as a working and studious young adult. But she does keep the core traits of Sung-yi, that is being timid and introverted.
괜찮아요?
네, 좀 무서운데 재밌어요. 유마님도 한번 타보세요.
이건 어린이들만 타는 거라 전 안 돼요.
그치만 저도 탔는데요.
승희님은 귀여우니까 괜찮아요.
One character that has remained consistent throughout season 1 and 2 is Min-jung. She remains the sweet, charming fairy-like idol that players would have fallen in love with since season 1. And if you're looking for a high-scoring, efficient player that's gonna guarantee buckets, then Min-jung is an unmistakable pick. There's also another bonus with Min-jung's character in chapter 2 where you have the choice to go to the pool with Yuna. Go to a snack bar with Malsuk.
먹어.
아,
먹어.
고마워.
맛있어?
맛있다.
Or go to Min-jung's concert. Both Malsuk and Yuna's choices lead you to their respective endings, but only Min-jung's option carries on the main story branch.
양말색이 뭐가 중요해. 레깅스는 이쁘더만.
뭐?
아니 그게.
나 집 갈래.
아이 무슨 집이야. 보드 타러 간만에 나왔는데 좀만 더 타다 가자.
자꾸 열받게 할래?
알겠어. 미안.
다음부턴 그러지 마.
그래 알겠어. 우리 일단 우리 여기서 조금만 쉬다 갈까?
우유맘,
말스가 말해.
평생 쉬게 해줄까?
어?
Which kind of gives the impression that Min-jung is the superior of the two. Now I got no issue with that, but to introduce that kind of UI mechanic that early in the game feels like a massive disservice to Malsuk and Yuna.
자야? 언제부터 여기 계셨어요? 죄송해요. 제가 좀 정신이 좀 없어서.
Min-jung makes a pretty strong entrance coming back to the house. Right off the bat, you immediately get to make the choice for her change of clothes, and then you even get to let her pick her own room. It's very evident from the interaction that Min-jung was going to be an overpowering character when going up against Malsuk and Yuna.
고마워요. 근데 내는 게 맞는 것 같아요. 저 오빠 부담 주기 싫단 말이에요.
I also think that's why the devs made the decision to split the route between Min-jung and Yuri, because these two characters are quite OP in game. In the scene where you have to defend Min-jung from the fans, the choices presented are meant to be a debated moment, so if you pick fight, you end up running into Yuri. And if you follow the right path, you end up with a special ending, which is why I say Yuri and Min-jung, they are overpowered AF, dude.
있으면 말만 해요. 우린 요만 씨만의 메이드니까.
There's a huge consensus here that Yuna is the least favorite character among players in the game, and I think it's easy for her character to be overlooked because she doesn't have a lot of plus points during the early game. Our parents don't like her, she's assumed to be the person who hit us and caused us to end up in the hospital. She's made out to be a bit of a dummy, and she's quite needy as compared to Gyuri and Malsuk early game.
회원 진짜 축하해요. 그리고 정말 미안해요. 그럼
Late game though, Yuna does come in clutch, and it shouldn't be understated that she is also the only new girl who held her own against the 3 OG baddies from season 1, Malsuk, Minjung, and Gran. Yuna moved in from the start, compared to Yujong, who already has Minjung on her side, and does not really have any direct interaction with Gran or Malsuk.
하숙 비용이 어떻게 될까요?
그건 걱정 마요. 제가 낼게요.
Similarly to Malsuk, I think Gran also got nerfed in this game. Probably not as hard as Malsuk though, because the person that we, as human, get set up against is the same antagonist who has been harassing Minjung from the start. I think it's a much better setup knowing who you're up against, which is why I didn't take it up as much of a big issue when we had to go Gran for Gran with the guy.
고양이!
뭐야 유만 씨? 어떻게 알았어?
방에 고양이 사진 있으시잖아요.
뭐야?
Malsuk, on the other hand, feels like a longer, more tedious rage bait that's been drawn out from start to end of the story. You first catch her doing the rental girlfriend thing super early in game, and then it never gets addressed until like late game. Then after it gets addressed, not long after, you see her again with another guy, and it's like a rage bait moment at this point. Like it feels like a deliberate move to debuff her so the other girls get a chance, which I don't really think is fair on her character. Now story-wise, I do think Season 1 has the edge over Season 2, mainly because the way the main theme was handled. Of course it's going to be difficult since we have like around 6-7 characters in Season 2 on top of the original cast from Season 1. How do you decide which characters stay at the boarding house? I think they did the best job they could to try to accommodate, but I feel like if you already knew Malsuk and Gran would be getting a debuff, it would be better to convert that to them moving out instead. It's a bit like a pick your poison kind of scenario. I think it would be great if they had Malsuk have her own place nearby, and then midway through the story, you see that she's with another guy. I feel like that would have made players feel a little more threatened. Putting Malsuk in a head-to-head position against Yuna, on top of the fact she's already doing this rental girlfriend gig, it's just a huge deficit to her favorability.
저 이런 데 진짜 처음이에요. 재밌겠다. 우리 오늘 여기서 바베큐 파티예요.
Another thing I felt was that Season 1 definitely had a better flow to things. It didn't feel that messy. We had plenty of prep time from each of the girls to establish themselves. Like one thing that really felt strange was how Yuna doesn't even question how we know Minjung. The part where we had to pick to hang out between Malsuk and Yuna or go to the Minjung concert. Yuna is a new character with no prior knowledge of the history between Minjung and us, and she's not the least bit surprised or curious we are personally involved with a fairly reputable idol. But of course, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. It's never an easy feat to follow up from success, plus these are nothing major that would make the game unplayable. There's still plenty of the signature 5 hearts under one roof humor in there. You got returning cast like Sausage Man and the guys from The Office, Deputy Manager Goo.
햄버거의 색깔은 과연 무엇일까요?
네? 햄버거요? 햄버거는 주황색?
버건디. 버건디.
Assistant Manager Choi,
나대리님.
우선. 와, 진짜 걱정했어.
and Staff Jang.
안녕하세요.
아유 오랜만이네요. 몸은 좀 괜찮아요?
In fact, even Malsuk's sister GOON makes an appearance in the game.
고은비.
예.
Yep, that's the special appearance no one saw coming. In addition to that, my favorite TikToker, Du also makes an appearance in the game, so that definitely adds to the plus points. All in all, it's still one of the top performing FMVs of the year, which is why plugging 5 Hearts Under One Roof Season 2 on the GOON meter, it racks up a massive 90%. So let me know what you guys think. Is it a well-deserved score? Do you think Season 2 is better than Season 1? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And you know we do this on the daily, so leave a like and subscribe. Till the next one, stay hard, Gooners.
이런 건 어때? 너무 자세히 보진 말고 나 좀 창피하단 말이야.
너무 좋은데요? 근데 이런 것도 팔아요?
뭐 이벤트 상품 같은 거지.
아, 그렇구나. 저는 너무 좋은데요?
그래? 유만씨 이런 거 좋아하는구나. 기억해둘게.